making this downtown flourish. And I think that having a night scope police presence could be beneficial in reducing graffiti, litter, and crime in the downtown area. I would like to continue with this conversation and want to try to make downtown better each and every day. Thank you for your time.
Great. I have a question for you.
Yes.
First, thanks for bringing this to our attention. It's been a recurring matter of concern for many years. Now, you said this is a robot, so it's somewhere between a Roomba and a Terminator?
It's similar to a R2-D2. So it weighs 400 pounds, it's 5'2", it has 4 cameras, so you could view it 360 degrees, and then it holds terabytes of information. And so what a lot of municipalities have been doing is they sign contracts, they brand it with police, and that way there's a physical police presence, and then you set the route, so it could go around the 400, 500, and 600 block in circles, you could change the pattern, and it has been significantly proven to reduce crime in those areas.
Now, once the homeless know that it's just a robot, why does it work?
So the police force, they do have access to the cameras 24/7, so if there's people doing drugs or committing crimes, or if there's an affidavit saying that they can't sleep at a certain property, the police would be able to view that footage live and then be able to make action, and a physical officer could go out on site.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Sir,
Yes.
could you send me a copy of your notes from minutes?
Yes.
Okay, are there any other citizens to be heard? Very good. Let's move on to item number 4, new business. Now, in a change to the previously published agenda, the special events funding requests will be heard before our administrative matters so that we don't keep people waiting overly long. So as far as these presentations, there's going to be a time limit of 5 minutes per presentation, and that will be enforced. And I would ask the members to hold on to their questions till the presentation is finished so that we don't eat up the 5 minutes of the presentation. And our questions will just follow that. Okay, so item number 4.1, special event funding for Clearwater Jazz Holiday. Steve. Howard.
Good evening, board members. Howard Smith, Starry Business Assistant Administrator. The purpose of this item is to request approval of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday funding request to produce 4 live music performances in downtown Clearwater's Station Square Park for their Wanderlust series, the Backstage Bistro Holiday Experience. This event will be the 3rd event series produced by the Clearwater Jazz Holiday in Station Square Park. The first 2 Wanderlust series were very well attended. They activated Station Square Park, which aligns with the DDB's current work plan. And it also followed all COVID safety protocols. Each show will include approximately 40 socially distanced tables, catered table services from the local downtown restaurants as food partners, and also live musical acts with 2 acts per night. The concert series will start on Saturday, November 26th, and continue through Saturday nights until December 17th. The show times are from 5 p.m. until 10 p.m., and all event tickets are pre-sold by Clearwater Jazz Holiday, with the proceeds benefiting the nonprofit Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation. Clearwater Jazz will use the funding towards the event production and marketing costs, and Clearwater Jazz requests a grant of $26,000 from the DDB. The total cost of the event is $65,000 and will generate 1,000 guests, with 250 guests attending each event. It is, as your staff, we recommend funding this event, special event series. This request does align again with the Downtown Development Board current work plan to fund the production and marketing of various special events throughout the DDB district area, which will increase awareness of downtown. If approved for funding, Clearwater Jazz will also complete a grant agreement that outlines the detail and also the marketing benefits to the DDB. Funds for these grants are available in the DDB's 2021 marketing budget, and per the DDB funding policy, the $26,000 request is below the $75,000 threshold, which is 30% of the DDB's $250,000 marketing budget. And for tonight, funding requests, I have the Executive Officer, Steve Weinberger, come up to be able to answer any questions that you all may have as a board member. Steve?
council members, members of the Downtown Development Board. I'm Steve Weinberger. I'm the CEO of the Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation. Thank you for your continued consideration of funding the Wanderlust concert series. Of the 42 Wanderlust events that we have done since October of 2020, supporting over 70 different local and some not so local musicians, 13 of those have been Station Square events, very successful Station Square events that, in our opinion, has done a great job together bringing attention to and activating Station Square Park in downtown. We're here again asking that this tradition that we've now built together during the pandemic, that's now a regular part of our programming, continue. The 4 events are stated in our application, but it's basically the last Saturday of November and the first 3 Saturdays of December of this year. We've been working with the CRA on some new ideas to try to enhance the experience and also the exposure to general population to try to get more people and portions of our events free to the general public. They're ticketed events, but we're working on specific initiatives designed to sort of make tables at our events available to outreach partners and other individuals to enjoy them at no cost to them, in an effort to sort of transition when we're back in the park to think about this experience in new ways, to try to involve the public greater around things that we might be doing downtown. In fact, one of the events this year, which probably will be the last Saturday, if in fact the funding is supported, we're trying to think of some novel approaches to opening up the event further to invite more people to enjoy it and other collateral activities along the street. So we're trying to grow and think about what this event could mean to downtown when we get back into the park in 2023 with Clearwater Jazz Holiday. We have one more year in the ballpark this year in October. So with that, I just want to thank everybody. I think we've been doing great things together. I also think it's been great to be able to activate an opportunity for downtown merchants and food vendors to serve and for people to order food and bring them into the events, which is bringing business to downtown. So we hope to continue to do that. Are there any specific questions that I can field? Yes.
With party restrictions in the rearview mirror, can you get a lot more people now?
Well, excuse me, a lot more people's a loaded term. I think we can get more people.
There's no restrictions.
Right. A little bit more tables. We're still trying to maintain an atmosphere of a comfortable way and a safe way to enjoy live music in that space. So while the amount of people I think will increase for this next series, it's not as if we're opening it up to a general admission audience and trying to pack Station Square Park with bodies. Okay. We're still trying to keep it done in a controlled way. But I do believe we'll be able to have more people enjoy it this time around than we have in the past for that reason.
Good. Steve, we've been, I guess, proud supporters of, collaborating with Clearwater Jazz Holiday for a long time. And we want to continue supporting it. I just have some questions on the finances. This event will generate about $25,000 in ticket sales?
In sales revenue, I'm at a bit of a loss because I don't have my right-hand man, Gary Hallis, with me tonight. He's unfortunately ill, so I don't know if I have that information specifically at my fingertips. Okay. The tickets sold for about $50 for a table of 2, or $100 for a table of 4.
Now,
if that helps on the revenue side.
I'm just wondering on the budget side, I don't know what it costs to put on one of these events or to put on the sum of the 4 of them. I'm just wondering what percentage of the cost of the whole project are you asking the DDB to subsidize?
Okay, so well, I can go off the application where the total projected cost of the event is $65,000, and the amount of the grant funds requested is $26,000.
Right. Okay.
About a third.
About a third. Okay. Do we have other questions from anyone?
Yeah, I'm just curious, since it's an open space, why can't we do a little bit closer? Like in the restaurants, I mean, they're indoor and they're not doing 6 feet as much anymore. So why not do more since it's outdoors?
Yeah, I couldn't hear everything. You mentioned trying to get music into the restaurants themselves?
No. What I'm saying is in the restaurants, there are people much closer and it's indoor, and this is outdoors, so you should be able to get more people closer to each other than at 6 feet, or I don't know how far you guys are trying to do.
Right, agreed, yeah, and we are. And so it's estimated there'll be about 250 people per event, which includes volunteers, but I think that we'll be able to position our tables a little bit closer than we did, say, in October of 2020, when we were keeping them farther apart, which would enable us to have more people.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, so you're looking at adding more space?
Yes.
More
Yeah.
chairs? Okay.
yes, absolutely.
All right.
Right, any other input from the board? Very good. Okay, I think that's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so are there any citizen comments on this item? All right. I'm looking for a motion regarding the special event funding request by Clearwater Jazz Holiday.
Yeah, I'd like to propose a motion to approve this for funding for Jazz Holiday.
Second.
Very good, so we have Shahab making a motion and Keenan seconding. Okay, do we have any other discussion on this point? Very good, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Okay, let's move on. Item 4.2, special event funding request for the Starry Night event. And,
Sorry, looks like the agenda I have are numbered different than what you're mentioning.
it was amended.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Continue, sir.
You weren't on the list to be informed. This is my own agenda. This is not
My
the
apologies.
official
So
agenda.
which one is this?
This is the Starry Night event.
Okay.
Good evening again, board members. Howard Smith, CRE Business Assistant Administrator. The purpose of this item is to request approval for the Starry Night event. Funding request to produce a live music concert in an amount not to exceed $4,010. The concert event will take place at the Garden and Cleveland Street intersection on July 22nd from 7 o'clock p.m. until 10 o'clock p.m. This event will feature approximately 7 vendors, 3 food vendors, or 3 vendors providing food and drinks, and 4 providing crafts or novelties. And with the New Rulers Band as a show headliner. The event is estimated to bring in approximately 400 to 500 guests to the 600 block of Cleveland. Media Solstice, the event's management organizers will use the DDB funds for the event production, marketing, and management of the concert, and cover the cost of the city permitting fees. Marketing for the show will also include, but is not limited to, digital and print marketing, geofencing, and also target media marketing. The total cost of this event is $9,640, and as your staff for the DDB, we recommend funding this concert event at a cost of $4,010 to cover their operational, marketing expenses, and special event permitting fees based on the submitted budget for the Starry Night event, which I have here. And for review. Is it showing up there on the front?
I see you. You're
There
on-
we go.
There we go, it's
Upside
upside
down.
down.
Upside down. Let me turn it right side up. Okay. So the items on the budget is what's highlighted in red, which will cover the city cost, also cover the permitting fees and the marketing. This event has received tentative approval from the Special Events Department, but contingent on receiving their permit from the special event as well as board approval. Then with that, we will move forward with completing a grant agreement which will outline their responsibilities as a grant recipient of the DDB. Funds for this grants are available in the DDB's budget for marketing, and per the DDB's funding policy, the $4,010 request is below the $75,000, which is 30% of the DDB's $250,000 marketing budget. Tonight, I have Xavier Walton here with the Starry Night event, And just to make you all aware as board members, this is a newly formed company as of March 20th, 2022. All right, so if you, and to answer any of
Could
those.
you slide it up?
Could you slide it up so we can see the rest of the numbers?
Sorry about that.
Thanks.
There we go.
Okay, now I have a question that you might answer, Howard. That is, you mentioned that there were 7 groups or vendors that were going to be involved. Now, who is the actual group that's putting this on? This is, I don't quite understand what this event is. It's a public event with free
It's
admission?
a public event with free admission, and per my communication with Xavier Walton, he's looking at working with the local vendors in downtown and also working with Blair from Market Marie to get some of her vendors to participate. So we should have local participation. He can answer to you more specifically than I can as he's facilitating the event. But the first goal was to have local vendors from downtown be able to participate in this event.
Okay. But the main attraction of the event is this band that's going to perform?
Is the band that's performing, the New Rulers. And in review, researching the band, they do have a local following, anywhere between 2,000 people on Instagram, and I believe it was like 3,000 people on Facebook. So they are a local band to the Bay Area.
Okay. And the vendors are just to provide food and drink?
And with going through the special event permitting process, is closing off the streets, making sure that it's a safe environment with law enforcement, and everything will be contained between the Garden Street area and Cleveland Street, which is where the stage and everything will be set up pending permit approval from special events.
Is alcohol included?
To the best of my knowledge, no. But again, answering some of those specific logistical questions would be Xavier Walton.
Okay. I guess we can have him come on.
Okay. And with that, I'd like to bring up Xavier Walton.
Good evening, board members. How are you all doing? You mind if I just take a quick peek at this? I just wanted to make sure this was... Okay. Hope you all had a festive 4th of July. Not to reiterate, my name is Xavier Walton. I'm working with a nonprofit organization called Starry Night Events. Like Howard said, I'm looking to put on a music event. The music event will be a 6-piece band. They're called the New Rulers. They're a local band. They played in many local municipalities like Dunedin, Orlando, St. Pete. I've seen them a couple times. They play a diverse group of music that people are familiar with. It's, I think people get excited when they hear live music, and it can't help but to be attracted when you're in the area of live music, and I think they do a good job of putting on a show for people to enjoy. As far as the marketing plan goes for this event, we will be using print, digital, and hopefully a little entertaining radio ad as well that caters to the music that they play. I believe for digital, we're going to use social media, local online communities, local forums, and local news events. Like Patch.com has a page where they broadcast some of the local events that people are planning to attend. I believe, just like this gentleman mentioned at a previous meeting, we're also going to try to use Google Click Ads to boost the marketing for this event. As far as print goes, we'll be looking to put the print in some of the local towns, as well as supermarkets, malls, and any areas that can get the event in people's faces so that they're willing to, know that this event is going on, and also just to bring people into the, the downtown area. We want to try to hopefully increase the downtown area as a tourist destination. Hopefully we can grab some people from the beach area and some of the local areas as far as Dunedin and Largo and areas that are neighboring. For the vendors list, I worked directly with Blaine from Market Lane. She helped me put together a list of vendors that have been to some of the events that she's done in the area before, so hopefully that'll be a successful part of the event. We expect 400 attendees. I know Howard said 400 to 500. My number was more close to 400. And as far as financing goes, we did the math. That'd be $24 per capita for each person attending the event, which we think is very attainable, considering some of the events that took place here and the funding and some of the marketing resources that they use. So we think that we can accomplish the same, if not more. And lastly, we hope this event will increase the diversity in this community and people coming back to downtown Clearwater area. Just personally, when I speak to people in the downtown area or just people in general, a lot of people tell me that they haven't been to the downtown area very long. And we'd like to bring people back to the area so they can see what's coming in and, give them a reason to come down here. I think if we hold a successful music event that's good for the community, that people can come and feel welcome and enjoy themselves, then maybe that'll give them a reason to come back down here to maybe dine or shop or eat.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Starry Night Events, this is your nonprofit?
Yes, it is.
And what is its purpose and its area of operation?
Initially, our purpose is to put on community events that people can attend.
What's the community though? What's the, where it,
Clearwater community.
okay,
We began the nonprofit in Clearwater, and we'd like to help it to remain in Clearwater.
okay. Very good. That answers my questions.
How do
Kenny?
you cover your costs? You're not selling tickets?
No, this will be a free event. And that, in the light of what you said, we are asking for full funding from the DDB. I know Howard might have said $4,060, but we are requesting that this event be funded in full.
Yeah, we don't usually do that. We usually look for you to get support elsewhere or from your own resources. But does anyone have a question?
Yeah, well, I didn't get it, I couldn't find in the, what type of music is that?
So they pay a variety of music. They pay funk, ska, jazz, reggae. I think they're even going to take a few live requests if the event is taking place. But those are pretty much the subgenres that they play.
Okay,
If we fund you if we approve funding for the amount that our staff recommends, how will you make up the difference and will the event still go on?
Yes, me and my group of partners that also work in conjunction with me for Starry Night events are planning to match whatever the DDB is willing to put forward.
So the event will go on?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Just a quick question. Have you guys put on any events like this before?
No, not in this area.
what area have you?
Well, personally, me myself, I used to do local club promoting in New York.
No, I mean the Starry Night, has it done any events? I think that's,
No, not because that's a
Yes,
new company, that's a new LLC, so I'm assuming that they.
We're a new organization, yes. This would be, if funded, this would be the first event.
are you new to Clearwater?
Previously, like December.
Right, welcome to Clearwater.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I applaud the initiative in putting this together, and I'm willing to support it, but let's see what the board thinks. Thank you for coming up to us.
Thank you all
If
for
there's
your
no more
time.
questions, you can take your seat and we'll proceed.
Thank you.
Okay, now, are there any citizen comments on this item? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, there is. Okay, come on up.
How you doing?
Good.
Nash Keys. Yeah, but like
You need to start off by identifying yourself.
I am Tony Teller from Nash Keys, Captain's Lounge. You guys know of me. I'm always walking around the downtown.
Yep.
Well, have you guys heard, we're obviously trying to get open, still running through some hoops. But the reason why our group wants to put on this type of event, and I know Xavier is a great guy, and he's helped us a lot with the general managing of Nash Keys and Starry and stuff. He really sees the potential in this town, and we all did, since we talked about before about the rich music history of this area, the fact that we sometimes feel that I would say the marketing budget per capita seems to be limited and more to exclusive venue events. 24 per capita is an aggressive. I think the most successful event that we've seen so far, from my notes, was a lady who pulled a Christmas party, had about 400 events, and she had a relatively low funding. I think it was a Spanish lady who came here in December. Fantastic event. Some of the events that we've had here have been run by local people trying their best. I went to an event by Lena, who two gentlemen ran a food truck right down here. They did an amazing job. The little thing I think what this town needs is normal people trying to do the best they can for this area, and that's what we're about.
Great. Thank you. Any other citizen comments? All right. So, do we have a motion regarding the special event funding request by Starry Night?
I just have a comment, actually.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I feel they won't have an event that requires a band, and I think it'd be in good spirit to at least cover the band cost. We can add that to what we're trying to approve for them. I think that's 2,800 for what I can read on that, right? For the band.
For the band, it's 150 an hour for 3 hours times
And that's 2,800.
6 of them, yeah, so
2,800,
2,800, yeah.
So, like, if we can add that, if that's possible, to
Well,
get some support to.
Elise?
I'm your secretary tonight on the deaf woman. Would y'all speak loudly?
Yeah. Okay,
Hear anything you're
okay,
saying.
sorry. Okay, so my bad.
Lean over.
Yeah, I'd like to ask if we can, they're having an event that requires a band. I think it would be good if we could actually add the 2,800, which covers the band cost, into what we're approving for them. So making it about, I think, 4,000 plus 2,800 in approval, yeah.
Well, traditionally, and from our recommendation, we look for the Starry to be able to make the recommendation to you as a board. Want to be consistent with the policies and the previous funding events that we've done.
Yeah.
When it comes to having bands, production, stuff like that, we typically ask that the city fees be covered,
Okay.
and also the marketing for the event. You as a board, you can make the determination in terms of what you want to fund, but our recommendation would be to cover the permitting fees and the marketing, which in most cases is really the bulk of an event cost.
Okay.
And we just try to be consistent for everybody.
Yeah. I understand your motivation to support this particular
Yeah.
thing, but I'm just thinking, Howard makes a good point, that if we're going to be consistent in how we treat all the different groups that come before us, if we're applying a certain methodology on how we fund it and to what degree, maybe we should be
So it's not,
somewhat
we're saying just,
consistent.
it's not possible to add an extra.
No, it is
Of course
possible.
it is
A motion
possible.
has to be provided to
We
include
can make a
that.
motion for whatever amount we
Yeah.
want.
Correct. I'm of the opinion, since this is not a money-making, and you have local citizens, they want to bring people into town to entertain, I think we could make some sort of an exception with that. I'm of the opinion. So if we can go maybe 50-50 or 60-40 on this to just, since I guess they're going to be funding them out of their pocket. I think Tony personally should pay more. I'm just kidding.
He's doing enough already, trying to put Nash's going, so.
That should be your punishment for not being able to open in the place.
That's his fault.
I'm kidding aside, I'm interested, so we can discuss, see how we can.
Okay, well, does anyone else have a comment before? Where
Okay.
we can start with is with a motion. Somebody can make a motion for the amount that they want. We can discuss that and then we can vote on that. So what we're looking for is a motion.
I'd like to open a motion to approve the request of the Starry Night for the
At what-
funding
at what amount?
4,010.
Okay. All
I'll
right, so we
second
have a
that.
motion. We have a second from Keenan. Now let's get into the discussion on.
Okay.
Maybe we can add a bit more.
Well, it's your motion, so you can propose amending it.
I'm just having a discussion, maybe we go 60-40. So since they're not intending to make any money off of this, we could support them a bit more.
My motion is to cover 2,800, so.
That's it?
Well, you haven't made a motion.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to,
Hold on, no. He's got a motion on the table. Now, he can amend it, or we can,
motion until I brought it up.
yeah, but you never made a motion. It's a technical
Okay.
point, but it.
We already approved that we do the 4,010 to discuss.
That's okay, let's go on.
No,
And then I said, can we add a bit more to it?
right. So if you want to add more, the procedure would be for you to amend your motion to a new amount.
I was trying to discuss it beforehand, but yes, I'll like to.
We can discuss it.
Yeah.
We don't have to make the motion yet. It's open for discussion right now.
I'd
Yes,
like to
Elise?
say something. I think that it's fantastic to have different music type events to bring, different people downtown, but this is their very first event. I think that we should, fund the 4,010, and if they have a success, then next year we can do more. But it's their very first event, so that's those are my comments.
Good. Keenan?
Would it be possible, Mr. Xavier, I have a couple questions for you.
Could I address the process real quick?
Yes, just before you start, Xavier, let's,
That way I can go back and take notes. But,
Okay.
with a motion and a second on the floor, you have two ways to deal with it. You call the question, and if the motion fails, then you have a new motion. Or if both the person who made the motion and the second are in agreement, you can amend the motion. But you can use either of those two processes. The cleanest actually is to vote, have it fail, and make a new motion.
Thank you.
It'll be hard. You already tricked him into voting. Just kidding.
okay. Everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. So I've done some events in my career and I've been involved in some nonprofits, but it seems that you have more experience than I do from New York. So if this is not to generate any type of break even as a nonprofit, how are you going to do more events? Are you going to just keep funding it out of the graciousness of your heart? Or I don't quite understand I would understand if you're covering all your costs, because then you could do the next event, the next event, the next event, you see, from a business plan point of view.
Could you just restate the question?
How are you going to sustain your growth and do more events if you're not at least covering costs?
Well, we'll find other ways to monetize as far as selling
How?
shirts, goods, but initially we want to do this first event to get our foot in the door. Hopefully we put on a great event for the community, and you guys see us as someone to turn to for events, and we can make this a regular thing.
Is there going to be beer sales, food sales
No,
that you
this
share
event-
in the revenue stream or
Well,
no?
at this event, we would like to have the people that participate and come to dine at the local merchants. They'll be selling alcohol. We won't personally provide any alcohol or liquor, but the local merchants will.
Will they give you any of the proceeds?
We actually spoke to a couple of them as far as being sponsors for the event. We've got Yes from 530 Pub. Catherine's got back to me. I don't think we finalized anything yet, but we've found other ways to monetize.
I mean, like Terry, I agree. I think diversity of music is fantastic, and I would like to sustain it with ongoing funding, but it won't if there's, unless Tony's going to just open up the checkbook every month.
Okay.
So that was my question.
Any other questions for Xavier? Okay, you can
Thank
take
you.
your seat
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you. Okay, so continuing the discussion, or are you,
I guess I could withdraw the motion and we can restart.
We should vote on it.
we would vote on it. Correct?
You can vote on the motion, you don't have to vote for your own motion, you can say nay.
Yeah.
The fact that you made the motion and seconded the motion doesn't mean you have to vote for it, you can say no.
It's called being
And then you have a
wishy-washy.
second motion that comes in on another amount.
Okay, so on this motion, all in favor?
Do we have more
Which
comments?
motion is this, please?
Pardon me?
Which motion is this?
This is the motion for $4,010.
Okay.
Okay, so all in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Okay, we've got two,
What the heck? Change my mind. Okay.
you change your mind?
So we can do another motion after this.
Okay, so that's three, any opposed?
No, sorry, I support those.
You do? Okay, then I will too, we'll make it unanimous. So we'll support this motion in the amount of $4,010.
All right, so I would like to raise another motion on this to maybe we add a bit more since they're funding it themselves. So hopefully they'll do it again.
Well then, you're welcome
So I
to
would
make,
like to have a motion of adding another 1,000 for the Starry Nights.
okay, is there any do we have a second first of all?
Hold on.
No? Okay, well, there is no second.
Pardon me?
It's getting a little messy, but
Okay, we do not have a second, so the motion fails.
so can I put in my motion? Because I still haven't addressed what I want to do, so I know you put in a
Yeah,
motion
yeah.
for that, so.
Yeah, then you can make a motion if you like.
I'd like to make a motion to fully fund the 2,800 that covers the new release for the band cost. That's 2,800.
Okay,
This is in addition to the
In
4,000.
addition to the 4,000.
We're having a hard time hearing you back here, so if you could just maybe lean forward.
Okay. No problem, I'll leave forward.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to fully fund the 2,800 that covers the band cost for the new rulers. That's the first line item there.
okay,
I'd like to make a motion to fund the $2,800 that covers the cost of new rulers, the band. That's the first line item there on the list there.
okay. Do we have a second for this motion?
Sure, I'll second it. It's a little more than what I thought, but okay.
Okay.
Discuss
so
it.
Now it's open for discussion. Who has anything to say on this point?
I said what I-
Well, it's a new motion, new unit of time.
Did you say you didn't understand that, or?
No, I said I've already said
Ah,
how I felt, yeah.
If there was a guarantee of 500 or 1,000 people, I'd probably say yes, but I don't feel that there's a guarantee of that, so too risky. I think Howard has done a lot of due diligence on this. I'm going to go with his recommendation and the team's recommendation of half funding.
I mean, my comment is, as I said, we have, can you hear me, sorry? My comment is, we have people who are trying to get things happening here, all right? We can't keep nitpicking them like this. The band is a big deal for the event. I think that should be funded. You know, Nash Keys, Tony Tello, they're working hard to get Nash Keys open. It's not open for reasons we all know. So if they're trying to get an event to liven up downtown, we should get it going and try the best to help them out. That's what I think. So that's what we're here for. All right. So
I agree.
Okay, any other
Well, my
comments?
understanding is that they're open to donations from other businesses downtown, and possibly they can pull in donations for other companies on the 600, 500 revenue sharing from the restaurants, which if they came to my door, I would give them something. But I'm going to hold on my position.
Okay, do we have any other discussion on this point? Okay, so I'm going to call it for a vote. All in favor of adding an item of an additional $2,800 to pay for the band? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, I'm also opposed. Okay, so it doesn't pass.
So then just as one point of clarification, to make sure that we're able to put together a correct funding agreement based on tonight's board approval, it'd be funded at the amount of $4,010 to cover the city permitting fees and their marketing fees and operational expenses not to exceed that amount. Correct?
Right.
Correct.
Thank you.
thank you.
Good. Okay, let's move on. We're on the May 2022 financial statement. Ann? Welcome.
Hello,
Hi, Ann.
I'm back. Ann Lopez, CRA Program Specialist. The first item that you have before you is a request of approval of your May 2020 financial statement for filing. Take that off because we don't need to get. In your agenda summary, you have your list of expenditures. They were $25,977, and your ending balance was $496,037.79. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. Does anyone? I think we're good. Are there any citizen comments on this? Did you have
Yes,
a-
sir. I do have a complaint. You haven't provided any baby pictures since you've gone all this time?
I will. There will be plethora of baby pictures after the board meeting is over.
Very good.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we're looking for a motion regarding the May 2022 financial statement for filing. Does somebody want to move?
Motion to approve.
Very good. Do we have a second?
Sure, second.
Okay, so Terry makes the motion, Shahab approves, or seconds. And is there any board discussion on this financial statement? There being none, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you, Ann. And then you can stay right there. And now we're on the certificate of taxable value from the Pinellas County Property Appraiser.
Ann Lopez, CRA Program Specialist. This agenda item is the certificate of taxable value from the monies that will be received from the Property Appraiser's Office. On May 31st, 2022, the Pinellas County Property Appraisers provided us with the preliminary tax roll. The total taxable value for the Downtown Development Board is expected to be $793,696, which is an increase of 7.59% over the previous year's taxable value.
That's significant.
Okay. There's no motion on this one. This is just informational purposes. This begins your trim process for budgeting. So we have, the way that the process goes with the state is it's 65 days from today, is when we have to approve, your final budget, which will be in September.
Could you just say the number again, just in rough numbers?
Sure. Roughly about 481 million, which is an increase of 7.59% over the previous year.
And that's in the DDB district?
That's just DDB, correct.
$400 million. Wow. Well, yeah, almost 500. Yeah, it's going up. It's a good thing. Okay, so any questions from any board members? All right, we'll move on to the next item, the aggregate millage rate.
Actually, I'm sorry, I do have a question.
Yes.
Will the bluff, when it's built, will that add to the district? It will, right? Okay.
A lot.
Yes.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Your next item is a request of adoption of the aggregate millage rate of 0.9700 for the 2022-2023 fiscal year, and to set your public hearing dates for your proposed millage and budget as September 7th, 2022 and September 14th, 2022. Again, this is part of your budget and trim process. This is a 2-item. So the first thing is to adopt your aggregate millage of 0.9700 for the 2022-2023 fiscal year.
Has that changed, that rate from last year?
No, that's the same rate we have this year.
Okay, are there any other questions from the board? Okay, we've had that rate for several years. It was revised 3-4 years ago.
Probably, I think it was before Anne Fogarty-France left.
Yeah. It was an odd number, like it was
Yes.
a 4-digit number, and we simplified it down to 0.97. Our total allowed is 1.0.
Yes.
So we're at 0.97, so we're a little below what the law allows. But everyone's been reluctant to increase property taxes. So if there's no other questions, we'll ask, are there any citizen comments on the millage rate? Okay. I'd like to request a motion regarding adopting an aggregate millage rate of 0.9700 for the 2022-2023 tax year.
I'd like to request a motion to adopt the aggregate millage rate of 0.9700 for the 2022-23 fiscal year.
Very good. Do we have a second?
A second that.
Good. So Shahab makes the motion. Terry seconds it. Do we have any discussion on this point? Call the question. All in favor? Aye. It is unanimous. Okay, now the second part of this is to have a motion to adopt the hearing dates for the proposed millage and budget, and those dates being September 7th and September 14th, 2022. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll move to adopt the dates September 7th and 14th for this.
For this, okay. Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, so motion by Keenan, seconded by Terry. Any discussion on this point? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion is adopted. Okay, now, the next item, Ann, you're still there.
My first meeting back, and I get all the agenda items today. Again, Ann Lopez, CRA Program Specialist. This item is to set your minimum reserves for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. It's staff's recommendation to set that minimum reserve at $50,000.
What was it last year?
$50,000. The year before, it was
75.
100, and then the year before that, it was 75. What we have done differently that started last year was we started to incorporate an amount of your unallocated funding back into your budget. So that's part of the reason why we've decreased your reserve amount to only 50,000 is because we've included more money from your unallocated funding.
Okay. Any other questions for Ann? All right, are there any citizen comments on the DDB's reserve? All right. Okay, I'm looking for a motion regarding the setting of minimum reserves for fiscal
I
year
move
2022.
to let it ride at 50,000, as stated.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Keenan, seconded by Shahab. Is there any discussion?
I think we've discussed this for hours, so I think we should keep this.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye?
Aye. It is unanimous. Let's move on. Thank you, Ann, and you're still there.
I'm still here. Ann Lopez, CRA Program Specialist. This is my last item for tonight, and this is to request appointment of the Downtown Development Board members to serve on the Nominating Committee for the 2022 election, which will be in October. Members that serve on that are those that there can be those whose term is not up for election. This year, Paris, Shahab, and Keenan, your term ends at the end of this year. So those are the 3 seats, so it would be everyone else except for you 3 that would serve as the nominating committee. The nominating committee, part of their responsibility is to go out and canvass to find members to try and run for the election.
Okay,
Can
so,
we nominate people that aren't here?
no, it's just board members, and they're,
Yes.
it is those people that aren't up for reelection.
Yes, and as a committee, as the chairman, you can
I can just appoint them.
appoint.
Yes, so Festus, Terry, Ray, everyone that's not up for reelection is hereby appointed to that committee.
Sorry, I will not be able to do this. I have personal reasons why I can't do this around that time.
Oh,
Sorry.
Well,
between now and then?
all you're doing is canvassing to try and find members for election.
Yeah, I know. But
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do it. Sorry.
Okay, all right. So you are excused from it. Everyone else that's not running is on this. All right. Thank you, Ann. Okay,
May I remind the committee, if they decide to meet together, it's under the public rules. Okay?
right. So the nominating committee,
If you're out there individually canvassing, it's not, but any meetings within the committee together. Talking to staff is not, but y'all meeting together for this is.
So if you and Ray get together to discuss, then it's a public meeting because it's 2 members. But if you go out and canvass on your own, it doesn't fall under those public meeting guidelines. If you and I were to meet, it wouldn't fall under those guidelines either.
Good to know.
thank you, Ann. Okay, our next item is the CRA update. Matt?
Good evening, Matt Jackson, CRA Assistant Director. First, just want to provide you an update on the special event specialist that we're hiring. We interviewed 3 people for a first interview, and we're bringing back 2 people for a second interview. Both are highly qualified. One person has had their second interview, and we're performing the other candidate's second interview tomorrow. So we should have someone very soon whose sole purpose is to bring robust, meaningful events, special events to downtown and to Coachman Park once complete. And actually, in the next month, also regarding special events, we're hoping that you're going to hear from a group who wants to bring multiple special events downtown, large scale, soon, again, also just to activate downtown. So that will be another funding request. With regard to the Cleveland Street closure improvements, the team's been working hard to have bollards installed, which I hopefully you've seen, so that we can remove the big concrete barriers. And then also, installation started today for summer-themed lighting. So there'll be blue lights going down the trees and the medians, and then pink lights along the palm trees, and that's scheduled to remain until September. And then also, we've been working with the Public Communications Department to have new street light pole banners put up. So the design was approved, and we're working to have those printed and installed. And then the last thing, we have 3 existing murals here. One south on the CRA warehouse, which is that large building just south of the MSB, that big warehouse building. And then next to the Creative Contractors building, there's a mural there. We've been working with the University of South Florida to create an augmented reality experience for those 3 murals, and it's moving along very well, and we're hoping for a grand opening mid-fall, which will again enhance the downtown experience.
That's nice.
Very good. I have a question or two for you.
Sure.
Number one, that Creative Contractors building, I understand, is owned by the city?
It is.
And what are our intentions for it?
That's a wonderful question. There's nothing, there's been no final determination of what's going to happen with it. Some ideas that have been discussed are some city staff use that building in the interim of when City Hall is being built. There's been other discussions to potentially submit out an RFP, an LOI, see if someone wants to buy that property and redevelop it. But we're not in negotiations, not in contract or anything at all right now, so we're not quite sure what what's going to happen with that building.
So, like, if someone out there is interested in it, could they approach the city, or do they need to wait for an RFP to be issued, or how does that work?
Typically, what would happen is yeah, people show interest in things quite often.
Mm-hmm.
However, we wouldn't move forward just based on that. A formal process would be followed, whether at first if it's of a letter of intent goes out, or if it's an RFP. Yes, a formal process would happen. It wouldn't just be someone approaching the city and then we sell them the property and off they go into a development.
Okay. And my second question is, I've asked at the last 2 meetings, I'm curious, do we have an update on the signage that's over Fort Harrison Avenue, north and south of downtown, on what its status is, on whether it's still working and what can be done with it?
If I'm not mistaken, we emailed.
Yes.
Yeah, we provided an email. I think both Howard and myself spoke with Omar over traffic, and the sign is not operational. And Howard, please correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since we've talked about this, but the sign is not operational, and I don't know if they can obtain the parts to fix it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Really? Wow.
It goes back to 2007, so it's outdated, so trying to figure out if they do have the correct.
It can't be
parts to be able to-
2007. It can't be that. It was done years after that.
Well, in our research and talking with Omar and planning, and then also the parking manager, that was the information that was provided to us. I did provide the board members an update on the status of the signs, and I'll go back and re-forward that email to you all, but it was provided
Okay.
once we did the last meeting.
I apologize, I didn't receive that email. I didn't see it. But that, it's not correct that signage dates back to 2007, because I wasn't on the DDP back then, and I'd been on it for years before that ever happened. So I'm guessing 2012, 2013, 2014, sometime around then.
We can follow up further, but I to make sure that they knew exactly what signs they were, I just did a Google map snapshot and sent that to them. So that's the information we were provided. If you wouldn't mind, well, Howard will resend the information, but if you can maybe come up with when you think that a closer year of when that was actually done, maybe that would help them research that. From my end, if you could remind me, what was the process by which you all were involved in helping purchase that sign. Was it here at the DDB meeting?
The DDB.
Funds were allocated?
There was a member on the DDB that was pushing that as a project.
Right.
For a number of months, and eventually,
Okay.
the staff came back with a proposal and a cost and so on, and the DDB voted on it and passed it, and it was installed, I'm guessing about 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay, well, what I can do then is I can go back and look at the agendas for the DDB meetings, and I can, if you're thinking around 8 or 9 years, that at least gives me a bit of an area which to hone in on instead of just looking for a needle in a haystack. But I'll start taking a look at that tomorrow, and if I find something, I'll provide an update.
We know which signs we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yes,
The L shape,
up over Fort Harrison.
it's over Fort
And
Harrison.
so as you're coming northbound or southbound, there can be a message, such as, big traffic this weekend because of a festival,
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if they are obsolete and can't be fixed, then I don't know if they should stay there forever. But if they can be fixed, then before we spend money fixing them, we've got to determine what, in the current environment, what could we do with them?
Sure.
If we can only put on their traffic up ahead, that might not be worth fixing them.
Well, we'll get the information. We'll research
Okay.
and find out and provide the information.
Okay, thank you. Oh,
I have a question for Matt.
Yes.
I think 3 years ago, the county had a rezoning of downtown, increased the FAR, that's the floor area ratio, from 4 to 8, and also increased the amount of units that could be built per acre from, I think, 75 to 200. Has CRA adopted that yet? I don't think we've adopted that at this point.
So, from working in the planning department,
Yeah.
the community development code, downtown development codes, that's where your FARs,
Yes.
your density, the CRA doesn't adopt that.
Who's meant to adopt that at this point? Because I don't think it's adopted at this. I know we have the huge RFP that was approved, and I know we have some kind of density pool at this point, and I don't want to just tap into that because there are other lands that could be developed at this point. So I'm just trying to find out why the city hasn't adopted that yet. That's what the county, I don't know if anyone from the council can help us with that question, but yeah.
So we have a downtown redevelopment plan with the FARs outlined per each district.
What is it now?
I'd have to look that up. I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it's 4.0, that's what it was, and I know that we've moved it to 8.0 at this point, but I don't think it has been adopted yet.
Who
The county.
adopted 8.0?
The county, 3 years ago.
But the county, well, first of all, before I go down a rabbit hole, this has nothing to do with what the CRA are operations.
Okay.
We do not adopt FARs, densities, height, anything like that. That's all the planning department.
Okay.
I'm not aware of the county adopting anything before the city pushes that application through.
Okay.
It wouldn't be just the county adopting an FAR, it would be the city working on one of their adopted plans, changing the FAR density, not the other way around.
Okay, I think let's look into this, and probably next time we can talk more about it, because I think I'm pretty sure what I'm talking about, 100%.
I'd be happy to look into it.
Thank you.
I believe that this came up under Gina Clayton's group a couple of years ago, and there was a big research project, or, a big upgrade on what the densities were, and along with many other code elements. And I think they must have made a decision at that point, and it must have been adopted. So whatever it was decided several years ago.
Well, I don't think she's adopted it yet.
I don't know if that was, but whatever was adopted, that was, that hasn't been sitting there for several years waiting for a vote. That was voted on several years ago. So there isn't anything pending that I'm aware of. It either passed at that time,
Yeah.
to what you say,
Yeah.
or it didn't, but it's not a pending item that's before city council that's waiting for a decision at this point that I'm aware of. That I'm aware of.
100% sure, okay.
Oh, I'm not 100% sure of it.
Just something to clarify, basically, anyway, it's not,
I'll look into it, absolutely.
Okay. Is that it for the update, Matt?
That is.
Very good. Any other questions from the board? Very good. Then we'll move on. We'll go on to the chairman's report. There are several events. One is there's something called Daydreaming, which is Nikki Butcher's hand-painted photography, an exhibit that's open through January the 31st, 2023. It's at the Clearwater Public Library. It's open to the public. Market Marie returns on Saturday, July 9th at Court and Myrtle. And the Public Art Walk, presented by the Clearwater Arts Alliance, is on Saturday, July the 16th. Other events are at the downtownclearwater.com website, and I encourage people to check that out regularly. And now we'll move on to board members to be heard.
I'm actually excited to see all the new developments upcoming and I guess being voted on in November. Not excited about having part of my view block, but I think it still is good for the city to move into some action to just basically develop what it has. So I'm excited about that, and I think it will help downtown quite a bit. So I look forward to that.
Good. Justice.
Yes, as always, I have to thank the CRA and the staff for helping us put this together, and also thank everyone who comes out here to try to make a difference by applying for grants, and hopefully we get some more in the future. Thank you.
Very good.
Have a good night.
It's nice to see people coming for grant requests. It means that whatever marketing or whatever we've put out there is reaching people. And I'd love to see us do even more marketing so we can reach more people, so we can get more grant requests, so we can fill up downtown.
Lisa.
Bear with me, I have a few things to talk about. I want to address the homeless, the gentleman who was talking about homelessness. It is something that the city council is very aware. Councilman Bunker brought it up as one of the discussion. We have had several meetings with different organizations to come up with a very concise and effective plan, so please be reassured that we are addressing. I live and work downtown, so I'm very aware of how the situation has, in my mind, deteriorated. Regarding the Jazz Festival, I attended those concerts, so I'm very happy that you approved it. I encourage all of you to attend, not only that event, but all the events, because it will help you in decision-making to actually, be present in the events that you're funding. But that definitely was an event that I'm very happy that you're continuing to fund. We had the last exhibit, hurrah, for the trash exhibit. We had a collaboration with Art Alliance. We had a tour with 18 to 22 people, which included Councilwoman or Vice Mayor Beckman. And then the event ended at Clear Sky with complimentary mimosas and some beignets and then parfait. So it was a wonderful way to end the event. However, because the property is still vacant, the artists have very graciously accepted to leave it there until further notice, so as not to leave the windows empty. And then last, according to Ms. Lopez, the balance is $496,000. That's almost 2 years' worth of coffers. So I would like to encourage the board to be a little bit more open to fully funding requests. In my mind, the skin in the game is the actual person applying and using their resources, meaning their manpower, and their volunteering. With this amount of funding, and in less than 3 months you're getting another year's worth, I would really implore you to not split hairs, because I don't see a lot of people coming here to, asking for $500,000 worth. So when they do come, and they're, asking for your help, give it to them. You can. Your coffers are full. And $496,000 in the bank is not having any effect in downtown. So even an event that is not very successful is better than that money sitting in the bank. So that's my last comment. Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't have a chance to see any of you on the 4th of July, but I would like to note that on July 6th, 1776, the Pennsylvania Evening Post presented the very first newspaper printing of the newly adopted Declaration of Independence. So I would like to be the very first to wish you a very happy 6th of July.
Very good. And my final comment is I agree with Lena and some of the other members that have stated that we want to encourage and support the people that come up and volunteer and ask us for grants and that want to put on events in the downtown. And my only caveat on it is we're also stewards of the public treasury to the extent that the DDB controls it. And we're responsible for seeing that it's well spent. And it's better spent on something less than perfect than not being spent at all. But it's also important to not waste it. So we have to, each of us has to make that decision each time we vote. And that's the nature of the business. That's how democracy works. So we encourage you to apply. We encourage you to establish a track record where more and more members feel confident in financially supporting you to a larger extent. One of the events that we funded today was up around $24 or $26 a head, which is, going back a few years, that's an extraordinary amount of money for the board to fund to bring one person to downtown. I mean, if you consider if we offered $20 bills for people to come downtown, the streets would be crowded, right? So $25 an expenditure by the DDB to bring a body to downtown for an evening is a very significant amount of money, and I think is quite generous on behalf of the taxpayers of the downtown. So that's it. But we do want to encourage volunteers to continue to come to us and ask for us for money and put on events, because that helps our downtown. So with that, at 6:40 in the evening, this meeting is adjourned.